Hello, hello. Thanks for making it to one of the last topics, I guess, at the conference. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm going to talk today about Zerion. So my name is Evgeny Yurtaev. I'm the CEO and co-founder. So first of all, actually, let's start with a show of hands. How many of you have used DeFi? Oh, OK, that's great. How many of you have heard of Zerion before? OK, that's a good number, I think. So I'm going to make the first part quick then, if many of you are familiar already. And then I'll go into talking about building an open platform and helping everyone and all the developers who are building for Web3 with achieving, and getting all the data that is possible to get from Zerion and build their apps quicker and faster. With that, let's proceed. So first of all, just to kick things off, what is Zerion? So Zerion is your ultimate app for DeFi and NFTs. Many of you probably used MetaMask before, and the typical problem that you have with MetaMask is that most of the time MetaMask just does not know anything about the tokens that you have in your wallet. That's like a first thing, and it's really bad at tracking all the transactions that you've done. It has zero understanding what a specific transaction actually did. So Zerion is solving these problems. So first of all, we track all the tokens automatically in your wallet, and we do that across multiple different blockchains. We're also fully non-custodial, so effectively the way Zerion works is that you connect any of your wallet, that can be Ledger, MetaMask, Trust Wallet, or any other wallet. You could connect it to Zerion, and you're ready to go, and you'll be able to access all the features and functionality that Zerion has to offer. Next is obviously Zerion is built for the complexity of Web3. Because we are automatically tracking all the tokens that are available within the DeFi ecosystem and NFT ecosystem, it's really hard to build a UI around it that really supports all of the details and complexities of these two spaces. And we've done a lot of work. We've invested a lot of time into actually building the UI that scales up with the number of assets available within the blockchain ecosystem. So essentially, Zerion consists of three parts. The first one I already kind of touched on is about portfolio tracking. The second one is about transacting, actually, and what are the things that are possible to do with your wallet. And lastly, it's about browsing and accessing new use cases, new dApps that are not possible to integrate within the wallet interface itself. So I'll go through them one by one. So about a few stats about our portfolio tracking. As I said, it's automatically tracks over now about 100,000 different tokens. So you don't need to plug in the address of a token for that to be found. Second, we support over 100 different protocols. And by protocols, I mean stuff like Compound, Aave, Uniswap, LP positions, anything else that DeFi space has to offer, as well as some more kind of extreme use cases, I guess, or crazy game to play to earn type of things. We are going to support pretty much all of the EVM chains and expanding to other chain ecosystems as well, as soon as we can, essentially. So moving on. And talking about the secure crypto wallet, so that part is essentially about transacting. So we allow you to do pretty much all the stuff that your bank would allow you to do and more. So essentially, you can send different tokens, you can receive, you can obviously swap at the best rates across all the DEXs. You can deposit into different DeFi protocols like Compound or Aave, and do much more. And we are also making that chain agnostic, so you can do all of these things where these particular protocols are available. So if you are using Polygon as your main chain, for example, we'll track all the tokens there, as well as we'll be able to allow you to deposit stuff on, say, Aave, if Aave is available on Polygon. And later, actually next year, in the beginning of next year, we're releasing our own wallet, and that is essentially for the sake of faster and smoother experience, so that we mean to have a wallet that would be able to essentially support all chains and really quick transactions, mobile first, and easy kind of grab all the opportunities that are available within the space. Lastly, the stuff that is coming up with the wallet is the browsing component. So that will allow you essentially to browse for free all the different use cases that people have to offer within the DeFi space. In terms of a bit of usage metrics, we have this year actually over 1 billion traded volume. Currently about 180,000 people use Zerion on a monthly basis. We have a pretty big community of over 50,000 followers and a large Discord server. So feel free to join our community, and there's a bunch of stuff going on there. Moving on to the actual topic of this talk. So talking about how do you build an app within the Web3 and DeFi space. Whenever you are just starting out, obviously like you're sold on the premise that it's so easy to build your own financial tools or your dApps, but sometimes like you really find yourself in a position where it's really hard to make the first steps and get even like the stuff like token balances would become a struggle for you as an early developer. So we have actually been in the space for a very long time, so we've made a lot of effort into building out the system and infrastructure to essentially allow querying a bunch of data from different blockchains using like a single API. So that's the API that our clients are using. So Zerion is available on iOS, Android, and the web. So all of these are using the same API, and that API is completely free to use for external people. There's also a problem of making transactions. So yes, all the smart contracts are available for you to make all the transactions yourself, but essentially understanding what kind of transactions you need to submit to the Ethereum blockchain or any other blockchain, you need to really know how the protocol works internally. So we're solving that by providing the transactions API as well. Yeah, so that's essentially the three pillars of what we do. The first one is about the data API. Second one is about the transactions API, and lastly, it's about connecting to different protocols and essentially extending the various different ways you can invest or make transactions within the DeFi space, like staking or depositing into strategies. Speaking about the data API, so what you can get from the data API is that you get all the token balances across all different chains, as well as the history in a human-readable format. So you'll be able to essentially query for any public address, what's been going on with this address, like what kind of assets they have, what kind of protocols this user has used before. And it's also includes all the NFT tokens with all the prices for them. In order to start using that, you can just go to docs.zerion.io, and you'll be able to get started really quickly. Last thing about this the data API is that we've open sourced a component. It's a JavaScript SDK that allows you to essentially get started even faster. So you don't need to query the API directly. You can just use the JavaScript API. Moving over, so one of the case studies of using our API is Prism. So recently is getting more and more popular. So essentially Prism, it's kind of like I think they call themselves a social trading economy or something like that. So essentially the idea is that you can find all the addresses within the Ethereum blockchain and rank them by their performance in a particular moment of time, and you can follow the best traders. You can see like who are the most successful NFT traders, and you can actually follow all of them within Zerion and see what kind of transactions they're doing. So Prism is building on that, and they have this interface of finding all these people, and they're using our APIs to provide this data. Next, so in terms of the usage, the usage of our APIs has grown 4 times in the last half year. I've already mentioned Prism, but we have Kubera as well. So Kubera is an ultimate portfolio management app. So that allows you to track all your banking accounts as well as all your DeFi portfolios and everything else. So for the DeFi part, they're using our APIs. So StakeDAO is another example. StakeDAO is creating a bunch of interesting, like more sophisticated arbitrage strategies that you can dive into. And for their UI, they're also using Zerion APIs. And Rainbow, some of you might actually use this wallet, but Rainbow is using Zerion APIs on the back end as well, just to power all of their data in their UI. The next component, as I said, was about the on-chain transactions. So essentially, when we started, we quickly faced this problem that in order to integrate all of these different use cases that are available within the DeFi space, we need some sort of way to kind of like adapting our interface to the way these protocols work. And all of them are very different. Like, people come up with different use cases. So it really became a big problem and pain point for us. So we've decided that we can build a system that would allow anyone to write an adapter to a particular protocol or any dApp that would essentially let our system interact with it. And by saying it's just us, our system, it means that every other people can also access that as well, because it's on chain and open source. So the goals with the DeFi SDK were that it's a standardized, it's on chain, modular, and it's free to use. So in terms of how it works, here I just give 3 examples of 3 different adapters for, these are mainly DEXs, but it doesn't have to be just DEXs. So essentially Paraswap, 1inch, and Uniswap are adapted through the DeFi SDK, and every time you make a transaction on Zerion, we just decide whatever best route for the transaction to take, whether you're trying to, say, swap ETH to a stablecoin. So it would ask pretty much every adapter and find the best rate for the user. But that's only like a small one use case that we're currently using DeFi SDK for. Some other things are, say, you're trying to quickly deposit money into Uniswap liquidity pool. So for that, you can take just one asset from your balance, split it into 2. All of that would happen within the DeFi SDK context. And both of these assets would be deposited into the Uniswap pool, and the pool tokens will be sent back to the user. So that's showing the power of the DeFi SDK. You can actually mix and match all different types of actions, and that the power of DeFi SDK is unlimited in that sense. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, so we are starting to work on the extensions of Zerion. So this is for the tracking purposes. So the number of protocols is going parabolic. So it's really hard to keep up. And I think Ledger Life is facing similar issues with tracking all of the assets that people have and supporting more and more integrations and blockchains. So we are going to essentially allow, and we're going to fund as well, development of the extensions to Zerion, allowing more protocols to be supported and more chains to be supported in the future. Yeah, so this is it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask them now, I guess. Oh, just before I go, it looks like there are no questions. So with Zerion, it's available. If you have a ledger, you can connect your ledger directly to the Zerion app. You can use actually Ledger Nano X with your iPhone application. So on iOS, it works with Bluetooth. So you can sign transactions on your ledger and use Zerion as your default wallet. And it's also available through the Ledger Live interface. So you can just click Live and find Zerion in the Explore section. Thanks again. Oh, OK, we have a question. Right. So the question was what it would take to integrate other blockchains. So the system that we're building with extensions is fairly flexible. So it would act as, so essentially on the backend side of things, Zerion is going to process all the incoming positions in a standardized form. So the thing that you need to implement is essentially kind of like an interface that would give out the data about the particular positions on the blockchain. And we could integrate that and process that and put that to the Zerion UI easily. So that's how it's going to look like. I think it's somewhat similar to, I don't know, intercom-like apps. Yeah, if that makes sense. Cool. So I think there are no more questions. Thanks again.